There are three non-negotiables to becoming a proficient and expert hypnotist. We invest a lot of time in becoming a hypnotist. It takes time to study, time to learn, time to practice. And I'm often asked, what do I need, Penny, to be a good hypnotist? I want to start with sharing with you that there is this common, very, very common marketing idea that if you're a hypnotist and you've taken marketing courses, or if you're in some other form of business, there's this whole idea of sell people what they want and give them what they need. But when it comes to hypnosis, we have to take a very different approach. And that approach is to build the client's confidence in the process by actually giving them what they want. So here we go. The first skill that you absolutely want to have to be a successful and expert hypnotist is the skill of listening. And when you're really listening to hear what the client is saying, you can ask questions and get them to clarify by, well, what do you mean? What does that look like for you? How is this affecting you now? And then you can really get into what is the one thing that, if we can change it, what is the one thing that would make the biggest difference for you? And we test that against reality. So let me give you a quick example, and then we're going to get into the other two things. I've had many clients come to me that were growing their businesses, and they wanted to make sure they had cleared any money blocks, meaning money stories, limiting beliefs about their potential to earn more money, to make high multi six figures or seven figures, when they had come from a home where they are the first generation, either to be an entrepreneur or to create this level of success. So when I asked them, like, what is the one thing you want? And they're like, I want a seven-figure business. Well, that's great. But in the short few sessions we're working together, you're not going to magically make $1 million. So then the next obvious question is, okay, well, it's obvious when you've practiced for a while. And I work with my students after they've graduated in the alumni group. If they come in and they ask questions, this is one of the things I will guide them around is, okay, what is one thing that you need to start doing now in order to achieve that seven figures that you're not doing? Like, what's the one thing that you're bumping up against? You say, okay, now when we look at that, what is the outcome that you're seeking to get here? If we achieve this in our 5 sessions or 8 weeks or 6 months, however you're working, because a lot of hypnotists like myself, we also do some coaching thrown into the mix. Would our work together has been a success if you achieved this thing? And then that they're like, yes, that's what I want. Because sometimes they come in with a very vague request of, I want to be free of fear. Well, there are a lot of things that can create fear, and fear can look like a lot of things. So we have to get that clarity. So listening is the first thing. The second very important skill is to not be in judgment of your client. Because if you are in judgment of your client, and this takes a lot of personal self work, to not sit in judgment of your client if their idea is right or wrong, if their beliefs are right or wrong, because our perceptions are different, and our own perceptions and experiences influence the way that we can look at other people. So we want to be sure that we are not imposing our beliefs on their transformative session. Okay. The third skill is a dedication to continued learning. Now, this doesn't mean chasing certification after certification after certification. This means being invested in the study of how the mind works, how people perceive things. I have books everywhere here that are on everything from trauma to business mindset to spirituality, that all talk about our awareness and our consciousness and how we perceive things. Because when we can understand to the greatest degree possible where someone's coming from or where they want to go, the better able that we are to help them. And when you have a really good foundation in your hypnosis certification, when you take a training that gives you a solid foundation, then you can mold and adapt based on the things that you learn. And that is important. You don't want to go take a training and then have to go out and take another full certification to learn another technique. You want that good foundation, and then you can mold and adapt and add to it without feeling you need to take another full training. So I hope this answered your questions. 3 things: listening, not passing judgment, and being dedicated to continuing to learn about people in the mind, because that makes you a much better hypnotist. We'll catch you in the next video.